computer. I think it asks for y'all permission.
Yeah, I just press got it.
Okay. So I don't have Facebook on my phone, y'all, so I cannot share because I'm not on my phone. And I don't want Facebook on my phone. um, however, if y'all could share in whatever groups y'all would want to share it to, that would be great. For anybody tuning in, let me go back just to make sure it is public so where everybody can see this and not just
Sure.
can y'all see it? Let me see. Oh, see, that was the issue. It was saying.
I'm sharing mine to the groups and everything.
Okay, so now, Travii, oh, you're sharing, so that's why I can't see you right now.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm like, I only see Prince. All right, y'all. So anyone who is, everybody who's tuned in right now, thank y'all so much for tuning in. This is an episode of Candid Talks with Toni Bryce. This is the third episode. And today we'll be talking about I am gender nonconforming and or non-binary. And I'm in Ballroom and is there a space for us? And our two special guests tonight will be Prince Hodge and Travii Aiko, and they will be sharing their experiences as gender nonconforming people and not non-binary people in their lives, period, and also in Ballroom, because as we know, that has been, I think has been like quite a hot topic as of late when it comes to Ballroom and then creating spaces. So if you are watching, I can't see who's watching, but if you're watching, listen in, come in with, listening ears, come to learn, engage, ask questions in the chat. And yeah, so let's go ahead and get started because we are, a little delayed. So I am your host, the Toni Bryce. Let me not even do all of that. She's an actress, she's a content creator, she's a safe space opener. She is a model, she's all of these things. Let me just stop playing. But this is the show, Candid Talks with Toni Bryce. I created it. I want to say, I don't even know how long ago. Was it a year ago, maybe? Previously, I was doing a show called Trans Table Talk. However, am no longer working with the agency that I was doing that show for. So I wanted to create something on my own platform that I can take with me no matter where I go. And this is it. So this is Candid Talks. Again, this is episode 3. And we, again, are talking about I am gender nonconforming and or non-binary and a ballroom participant. Is there space for us? And again, guests tonight will be Prince Hodge and Travii Aiko.
Yeah.
So Prince, can you go ahead and introduce yourself for the people?
Hello, my name is Prince Hodge. I am a non-binary advocate in Ballroom. I'm also a Black activist and a beauty influencer.
Period.
Travii, can you introduce yourself to the people?
Yo, what's up, y'all? It's your girl, Travii. Yeah. I am a community health outreach worker. I'm a dancer choreographer. My pronouns are she, her, they, them. And yeah, I'm the girl.
And Prince, what are your pronouns?
My pronouns are he, she, they. So I'm gender fluid. So I don't care what you call me as long as it's not done with an offensive intention.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, for the sake of Ballroom, a lot of times we end up giving people the pronoun of she because that's just Ballroom. Everybody, she, her, they. So being that your pronouns are she, they, them, for both of y'all, I probably will naturally say she. So, and it's just FYI. So I just wanted to have this conversation because last year, I remember this, I don't know where the conversation stemmed from, but I remember there being a conversation about gender nonconforming people and having gender nonconforming categories. And some people were very much so at odds with that. And like, they didn't understand it. don't know if they tried to go take the opportunity to try to understand, but definitely didn't understand it and just had so much to say about it. So I remember at the time we were doing some battle zones for the Atlanta Kiki theme. Atlanta father Barty Bodega and myself, we revamped the battle zones. And I remember a couple, I think the last two, because of that conversation that was happening, I was like, you know what? I think I want to, do some gender nonconforming categories so people can feel inclusive and feel like there is a space. And I know I've always been a champion for it. I myself have never identified as gender nonconforming and or non-binary, but I know before I started my transition, because I never identified as gay, identity that I had was androgynous. And so that was something that I felt could describe me and I felt comfortable with. And so I definitely identified as androgynous, but I never identified as gay and all of the things. So what we want to go first into, because we know that there's so many terms in the community, we want to talk about what is gender nonconforming and what is non-binary. So for people that might not understand or might not know the difference, that might be a little confused about it, gender nonconforming is more of gender expression. It's about, I may identify as a woman, I may identify as heterosexual, homosexual, whatever, but my expression of gender does not align with the societal construct of what a man and or woman should look like and appear as when you show up in this world. So that's what gender nonconforming is. You can still identify as a man and or woman. Your pronouns can be whatever you feel comfortable with. However, you do identify within the binary being male, female, man, woman. So when you get into non-binary, it's kind of the opposite, but sometimes it can be similar. Non-binary means you don't identify on the binary, or you're a combination of the binary, to where like you're not going to tell me if I'm one or the other. I'm both. Now I'm two spirit. What's the thing?
Right.
So and non-binary, you can still identify as trans and like be trans masculine, trans feminine. You can still go by whatever pronouns, but understand that non-binary is a identity, and gender non-conforming is more of a expression, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Expression, identity. So hopefully that cleared some things up. Hopefully that educated some people. If you're still a little confused by it, I would definitely encourage you to go Google and understand the difference, because there is a difference. All righty, y'all. So Prince, we know that you identify as non-binary, and Travii, we know that you identify as gender non-conforming. So the first question I want to ask you both, what was your experiences like, or are like, in the real world as a gender non-conforming person, as a non-binary person? And whoever wants to go first can go first. What has your experiences been like? How do people react to you? How do people treat you? Do they understand you? Do they not? And if they don't, is it rude? Do they try to understand? What is it like?
You can go first, Travii.
So when it comes to the real world, outside of ballroom, it could be a little bit challenging, because you do have people that that kind of say, what is it? What's that? Or are you trying to be a girl? Or like, are you a drag queen? Or are you a dragon? So and I just it's kind of it's a little bit challenging. And I think another thing is that you would think that in our own community, a part of the LGBTQ plus community, that they would our community will understand a little bit more. But even in our own community, we still have people that just do not understand. And so, like, because I may be biologically, in your face, boy, but that's not how I identify. So, and sometimes I do have to correct, and say, she, her, or they, them, or better yet, just call me by my name. And it's not for like, I guess your comfortability, because my comfortability comes first. So like if you can't respect my pronouns, then just call me by my name. Or better yet, just don't mention me at all. So I think that's just like one of the challenges is that trying to get people to understand, like if I show up and if I'm outside in a skirt, you know, with a blouse on and I got my face is beat with a mustache, you know, like, you know, some people may still like identify, oh, you know, oh, like he's cute or whatever the case may be. But that for me, that's, you can say I'm cute, but don't say he's cute, you know, or they're cute or she's cute, you know. And then even in like, it was one time where I was literally at, you know, Walmart, my face was done, you know, I had a lash on, you know, but that's because I was actually like, I was on my way to a ball. And so, the lady that was there was like, yes, work, hunty, even though that kind of irritates me, but she was like, yes, hunty, work. And then she was like, excuse me, sir, you are so handsome. And I'm like, it was really cringing. And literally, like, I have on a skirt, full face on and everything like that. I'm like, what is handsome about this? You know, like, you know, and I felt like she was trying to like forcefully, like, you know, trying to put that on me. And like, you don't want to say I'm beautiful.
Don't
you don't want to say I'm pretty. You know,
looking how you looking, but don't forget. Let's
yeah,
be
exactly.
clear. Yeah,
you know,
the underlining what's implied without being said.
exactly.
Yeah.
And so like that part was really cringing for me. But it's like a lot of times I do kind of feel a little bit uncomfortable because in that moment I don't really have time to like explain to you how I identify, and I don't have time to like teach you a lesson in that moment. You know, so it's like, do I take it and just, you know, just pay it? You know, even though I was on my way to a ball, but it was like in that moment, like, do I take it and just like I said, just pay it, or do I say, you know, she, her, and then if I go there, you know, it can be a bigger discussion than what it is. So it does become a little bit challenging, and that's why, honestly and truthfully, that's why I kind of like stay. Like if I go somewhere with like where anybody is normally with like my circle of friends or my circle of like my chosen friend that who understands me and how I identify, just so that when I'm out in public, I feel a little bit more comfortable than for me to be by myself. And then like I have people that don't know, and they'll say like a sissy faggot, you know, like, oh, he want to be a girl. Like I'd rather just have my people with me to make me feel a little bit more comfortable. So.
And what I want to just add in there too, like when people say ma'am, and sir, understand that those are not pronouns. A lot of times people are associating ma'am and sir with feminine and masculine, right? So the fact that you see this feminine being and you're still trying to address this feminine being as sir, point implies that, well, I know, but you look cute, sir. Like, no. It's like when you go through a drive-through and they hear your voice. I go through the drive-through all the time. They be like, all right, ma'am, sir. And I'd be like, girl, wait till I get to this wait till I get to this window looking like this.
Right.
Where's the sir? Where is the sir?
Exactly.
So I get what you mean. Cause again, sir and ma'am, and they do that so much in the South, and I hate it.
Yeah.
Because where I'm from, we don't say yes, ma'am, and yes, sir. We say yes and no. We say huh and what, but we don't do all of the extra stuff. So I totally get it. Again, ma'am and sir is associated with the feminine and masculine, and that's where they come in with that because it's not a pronoun. But yeah, mama's tried it. What about you, Prince?
I feel like in the real world, it can be challenging, but I feel like a lot of the challenges come from a lack of knowledge. I do feel like, of course, some people are intentionally like, you know, oh, you want to be a girl, or you don't think you handsome as a boy, or, you know, you look better as a boy. Why you don't? And it's like with me, I'm non-binary. So I'm gender fluid. So I don't really care if you call me him, her, however, as long as I know that the intention behind it is not shady or is not condescending, I don't really take offense to it, because I do know that there's a lack of understanding that's there. But I do feel as though like it can be difficult with a lot of people not understanding you. And I feel like, you know, when they see me, they try to associate me with like a drag queen or a trans woman or such. But I've never taken hormones, and I'm not a drag queen. I have a beard and a mustache. I don't, you know, wear a bra or anything like that. I just feel like this is how I feel most comfortable, and this is how I feel like like I at peace and beautiful. Like, you know, I feel beautiful when I walk outside like this, when I do my makeup, when I do my hair. And this is how I just choose to carry myself. But a lot of times I feel like, you know, in the real world, people, for one reason or another, they don't take the time to try to understand you or try to relate to what it is that you might be going through. Like I try to tell people a lot of different times, like, you know, you never know what somebody is going through for you to act any type of way towards them. So I feel like, you know, it's just a lack of understanding, but it's also a lack of caring to understand.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
And that's the thing that I like, and this is a little off topic. When we talk about like Black liberation, right? We have to understand that none of us are free until we're all free. And we have to understand that with Blackness comes intersectionality. So you might be Black and a woman, Black and a man, Black and a woman that's trans, Black and a woman that's lesbian, Black man that's gay, or Black man that's trans. Like there's so many intersectionalities when it comes to our identities. But until we're acknowledged, until all of those identities are embraced because of our Blackness, because we are still one race at the end of well, we ain't gonna get into the race thing or that topic, but because we're all Black and we're living this experience, we have to understand that we as Black people, none of us are going to be free until we're all free. And that's because we all have to fight for our liberation. But right now it's so divided. And so I think that's why even within our own communities, there's a lack of understanding because it's so divided. People don't understand trans. People don't understand that transgender is an umbrella term. People don't understand the terms under transgender because technically non-binary and gender non-conforming are under that umbrella term. However, does that mean that these people are trans, a woman of trans experience, a man of trans experience? No, it does not mean that. But again, to your point, there's a lack of caring to educate yourself so you can understand. And the fact that we don't educate ourselves amongst our own community is it's sad. And we have to do better. You know, once you know better, you do better. So if you're watching this live right now, you know better now. So go do better. Period.
Right.
So now that go ahead. I'm sorry, Prince.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, like you said, like, you know, in the real world, like we all are one, like, you know, being whether it's a gay Black man, a trans Black man, a non-binary Black man, at the end of the day, when other races and other people look at us, they see the color of our skin, they group us all together. We're all going to be grouped as one, no matter how you want to try to divide it. Oh, like they're gay, so I don't really do them, or I'm not going to talk to them because they're gay. When outside looking in, when they look at us, they automatically group us together. So if one of us look good, it helps us all to look good. And I feel like that's something that a lot of people fail to realize.
So next I want to go into Ballroom specifically. Now, before this thought just hit me. It just hit me. Because I want to talk about how what y'all's experience has been in Ballroom, being gender non-conforming and non-binary, right? But this thought just hit me. The year was 2017 or 2018. Actually, I don't know. It was one of the two. I think it was at a battle zone, actually, when we first created battle zones. The category was drags performance, and it was 3 drags. And I don't mind naming them because this story has been told over and over. One I won't name because she's transitioned. I don't want to ever do that. However, the other 2 are not. So it was Indira, Rajay, is that her new house? I can't remember.
Yes.
Rajay, am I saying it right? Indira Rajay, founding mother, and Indira Rajay, and then we have I think Wisconsin or Minnesota or Midwest mother Chachi Onabi. So the year was 2017, 2018. They were walking drags performance. And what I'll never forget was I was on the panel, and this is how I participated in that ballroom culture of making y'all pick one side. I've even participated in that. Sitting in this moment. So let me tell on myself. They were walking drags performance. And I don't remember who specifically, but one had a beard, a little beard, and no bra. And then the other one, I think had a bra, but then had a beard. And I was like, I was on the panel. I said, what y'all think y'all doing? I said, this is drag performance. You gotta look like me. You gotta look like me. What are you doing? And if it's Tachi watching, they'll remember. if you don't look like me, baby, you can't be walking this. And when I say it was the last time we've ever had that type of situation, in, at least in our Land and Kiki scene, about what a drag should look like when she presents. No facial hair, and you must have either a bra or a breast illusion, right?
Right. Yeah.
And so I didn't think about at that time, well, what are these people's identities? Like, do they identify as you know, these butch queens getting in drag to be these female illusionists to walk this category? Or are these people, is it authentic for you to have breasts and be in an effect and still have a beard? Or is it authentic for you to not have any breasts and facial hair and have you know, Dara had, both of them actually have a head full of hair. They both have locks. So I didn't think about that at the time because, you know, you conform to what Ballroom tells you to do. And so
Right.
I've even participated in that. Thankfully, I've freed my mind and I'm no longer there. And a part of trying to, you know, create spaces and even like these type of conversations about why we need to open up spaces in Ballroom and stop sticking to the same old traditional whatever. But so I had to share my own story of of how I've even participated in that. But glory for the journey, because baby, it ain't given what it ain't given what it. So let's talk about what has been y'all's experience in Ballroom. Now I know Prince, you walk face, and Travii, you walk performance. So I know. So what has been, you know, y'all's experience when it comes to Ballroom? And you don't have to put names to anything, to people or houses, but you know, Travii, I know that was a house you were to go to, and they wanted you to be something that you were not, and so you chose not to go that route. And I hope that I'm not spilling tea, but you know, if you would want to talk about that, and then Prince, of course, you can talk about what it's been like walking face, and you know, them not understanding your aesthetic. Is it butch queen? Is it drags? Like, what is it?
Right.
And whoever can go first can go.
I could go first this time, I guess.
Right.
So my name is Prince, and I walk, the category I was walking was Butch Queen phase, because out of drags and Butch Queen, I felt like I might have fitted more with the Butch Queens because of the facial hair. Like, I really enjoy my facial hair. I don't like the way that I look without facial hair. It makes me feel very uncomfortable. So I was walking Butch Queen for that purpose. But my constant feedback from Ballroom, from walking my categories, it wasn't any of the actual elements of face, like, oh, you know, your teeth or your effect or your, you know, any structure. It wasn't anything to do with that. My feedback was always, oh, you're too feminine, or you're too feminine. Like, it was even one ball I walked, it was Paris's ball, Paris Bonnet. I walked his ball and I actually won the Butch Queen face category. But it was people actually behind the judges panel, like screaming, like, that's a drag queen, that's a drag queen. And it's like, even when I did try to conform to fit something that I was not, so I could even try to be acknowledged by Ballroom, I didn't fit in, because you could kind of tell that I'm forcing it and I'm faking to be something that I'm not. And I always just felt so uncomfortable, like I couldn't truly be myself. And I brought it up to, you know, of course, different leaders and different house parents and my Ballroom parent at that time. And, you know, they always was just like, you know, well, this is Ballroom, you know, that you got to kind of choose to be one. And
status quo. Yeah.
Right. And if not, you know, you probably don't need to be here. If you can't decide to be one, you know, you're not going to make it. Like, you can't fit in with us, basically. And, you know, it was definitely trying, because I've always, like, looking at Ballroom, it's always been so elaborate. And these people are able to kind of be, well, what looks like their most authentic self, like, you know, come out in these big elaborate costumes and different things that is definitely out the normal. But then when I tried to be a part of that, it was kind of like, well, if you don't align with what we already have, like, you know, if you don't align with what we tell you to align with, then, you know, there's not really a place for you here, even though there are and have been plenty of, you know, non-binary people in Ballroom history. We just never had a name for it. We had to blend in as something else.
And I remember, Prince, I was at that ball. I came, I did my LSS, I presented an award, and I left right after that. And I remember going back to watch the clips, and I said, I don't watch clips a lot, but I'm definitely going to watch face, because if that's my category and that's the category I'm looking forward to seeing, the first of Atlanta. You know, sometimes you got to remind your scene. So shady. that's going to always be the category that I go to look at to see, the new faces coming up. And I just remember hearing people saying, "Oh, it was a lot of people on a runway that night." And I said, "Really?" So I went back and I watched the clips, and I remember seeing you immediately, and I was like, "Oh, okay." And I immediately in my mind, I was like, I didn't even know you. We hadn't even spoke. And I was like, this person has to be a gender non-conforming and or non-binary person. I was like, because the way you're presenting. And to watch that clip and to see you walk away with the grand prize, I was just like, oh my God, like, I'm so proud of you. And I remember after that, I had my birthday ball and you came, and that was the first time I met you in person. And I just gave you your roses and let you know that I seen your clips. You did amazing. I see it for you. Keep going. So I'm happy for you that you are, and we'll talk about this past weekend later, but I'm happy that you have came into this space and shook it up a little bit for your for our category. Because a lot of people, they just accept the status quo because this is ballroom. And as I said earlier, I am a space creator, right? Now, what I want to get with you, Travii, one thing I was thinking about earlier was I just want to acknowledge you in being somebody in my life that has allowed me to, you've been somebody in my life that has always shown me something different, right? And you've been an influence. And so I've like, your spirit one is just the most beautiful spirit. Like, you have this attractive energy, your spirit is just so genuine. And when I think about spaces that we've created, and I think about, I think about the herd, I think about you, because that first meeting, baby, you came in and let go. And then my co-host, right? When I think about Genie Lounge, you, Ajani, and Nasty, y'all were the three that inspired me to create that. So you've always been a part in creating the space so y'all can feel comfortable, y'all can have a space. And then we get into the battle zones. The conversation was being had, but you were a reason why I was even influenced to say, let's do these gender non-conforming categories because of people like Pink. And, we've had that conversation as well. And you knew that we were going to have it beforehand because I let you know.
Right.
But you have been somebody that has definitely shown up in my life and has been an influence on me and how
I cry.
Well, don't cry, but you really have. And I was thinking about that earlier, and that really set in my spirit. And I was like, wait, let me rewind this back. Like, she has really been a part of a big influence in why and the spaces that I've created when it came to the community. So with that being said, what has your experiences been like being a person that is gender nonconforming, the walking performance?
Well, first I want to say thank you so much. For performance, and I'm happy that, because a lot of times I don't say Bush Queen Vogue Film. A lot of times you may hear me say Vogue Film or performance, all walk Vogue Film. I don't never really say Bush Queen Vogue Film because of the fact that Butch is so like Butch and I'm just not Butch. So I think for me, because of the fact that I don't identify with the term Butch, I try to, when it's time for me to walk, I try to show up as cunt as I can. Like, if it's giving me a piece at the top with a over beat face with a stacked lash, like, because yeah, because I do want to represent for the non-binary or the gender non-conforming girls that walks that category. And because of the fact that ballroom is black or white, I know it's never going to be, gender non-conforming performance, which don't be fair. But like,
you never know.
I never know. But that's why, like, when I come out, that's why I try to like make sure, because right now it's even at like the mainstream balls. Just a quick little side story. My daughter Armani Gorgeous Gucci, she's the one that will always have a beat face and with a lash, and she would have on the nails,
Yep.
you know. And so I remember she had walked the Chicago Awards Ball, and they were on the panel saying that she needed to be walking drag performance because of the fact that she has a deep face and she had on nails and she had on lashes and everything. And I remember like chiming into the comments on the Clips and Dips page on Facebook saying that, you know, first off, that's my child, and then second off, this is how she expressed herself. This is who she is. She's gender non-conforming. You know, like she doesn't identify, you know, with the term butch, you know, both, you know, butch queen both femme. So like she also talks about she don't say the term butch. She's always just say, oh, I walk performance, I walk both femme, because of the fact that she don't identify with the term butch. So I think for me, like, taking that away, I just try to make sure that when if I'm ever on the floor, that I'm always going to be trying to represent for our gender non-conforming or our non-binary people, because of the fact that, you know, like if you're cut, you cut, you know. And so that's one of the things that I want to always portray when I hit the floor. And for me, just another little story is the fact that I was interested in the house, and I'm not going to put the house out there, you know, respectfully, but I was interested in a house, and during that, because of how I identify, and I was, you know, one day you might see a be faced, one other day you might see me with a little, you know, piece on. You might see me with a, like, you just never know what you're gonna get from me. So, because of how I identify, and also it was said because of my vogue and my aesthetic, that I should be walking drags, and so that didn't resonate with me because
Right.
I'm like, I'm not a drag performer, you know. I'm a vogue femme, and so literally it was like that conversation kept on was being pushed on me. And so and the reason why I didn't choose to go to the house was because of the fact that I didn't even have like that support of someone trying to speak up on my behalf of saying, hey, maybe this person doesn't identify like that, or they don't identify of them walking drags. Maybe they are a Vogue femme, you know, and this is just how they identify, or this is just that person's aesthetic. And so you would think that, you know, going back to what I was saying earlier, you would think that with Ballroom being a safe space for us, that, you know, people will understand that we do have people that are non-binary or gender non-conforming, or I would say, you know, or guys that may not identify as gender non-conforming or non-binary, but just feminine, you know. So it's like you would think that would be a conversation, but it wasn't. And I felt like I was like defending myself against, you know, a house that did not understand me. And then that's why I chose to, you know what, it's okay. I will stay Kiki.
Right.
And so now, like with the house that I'm in now, just even getting in and doing that process, you know, the mother understood me from the door and was like, oh, I understand how you identify, and I get it.
Yeah.
And that was all. And we even had a conversation about, okay, well, what categories do you want to walk? And I was like, well, it's nothing drag. But so she's like, okay, so you're walking Vogue femme. So even with that, we have an understanding that, you know, like, okay, so I know not to put Bush Queen Vogue femme when I'm having a conversation with Pink, or when I'm having a conversation with Lash. So it's like, with that, it's a respect level. So I think overall, my full experience with just Ballroom when it comes to me is the fact that I try to just make the best of it, because in the future, I know that day is going to come, and maybe it might have to take, you know, Toni Bryce to make that lane for me, you know, you know,
never know. You know, I got a birthday ball coming up.
Right, you know, so yeah. But I think that truly, you know, until that time come, I'm always saying, you know, I walk Vogue film or I walk performance, and every time I step out on that floor, I'm always just going to represent for my gender non-conforming or my non-binary people, and just how I show up. So,
and
go ahead, Prince.
I just want to say I cannot speak on the behalf of our community because I'm only me, but I feel like it's important to recognize that for somebody to call me a drag or a drag queen, it's an offensive term. I feel like it's the same difference as calling like a transgender woman a drag queen, or calling, because we were born men and have wigs. We all just group us
Well,
all
hold on.
together.
Let me correct that real quick, friends, because I hear that a lot. We were not born men. We were not born women. We were assigned male or female at birth and are intersex. And we develop into these things because as a proud Black woman of trans experience, I've never had a manhood. Don't know what a manhood is. Couldn't even tell you what a Black man goes through. So I just wanted to say that because I feel like in our community, in Black community, period, we have a habit of saying, I was born a man, I was born a man, I was born a... No, we were not. We were assigned male and female at birth. And we started as little boys and little girls, and then we develop into these things. Should you develop into said things? Because some of us don't have that lived experience as a man or as a woman. So I just wanted to put that out there. So go ahead, Prince.
Okay, yeah, I apologize for that, but because we were assigned male at birth, I feel like they try to group us all together in the same category, and it's important to recognize that we are different and we do identify differently. So to try to say, oh, you need to walk drags, or you're a drag, or you might as well just cut off that little chin hair. Like, I'm not a drag queen. They're a different set of people, and not to say anything bad about drag queens. It's just I'm not one of them. That's not who I've ever been.
Right.
Yeah.
Same here. Because I literally get that. I literally feel like I get that almost all the time where, oh, well, you might as well just go ahead and just shave it off. And I'm like, oh, because baby, I dye her. And then I need to have my mustache because I don't got no upper lip. So like, baby, she complimented my upper lip.
So let's talk about before we get to the end of the conversation, let's talk about some affirmations. Let's talk about some moments, if you have any, but let's talk about some moments in your ballroom journey where your identity and our gender expression has been affirmed. Do y'all have any moments? I know with you, Pink, initially, and Prince, for you, what I wanted to talk about with you, we're gonna save that for last. So anything before this weekend. Pink, for you, or Travii, for you, can we talk about your name in mainstream? Because I see that as a huge affirmation as to who you are and your gender expression.
Yeah, so of course everybody know me in the Kiki scene as Pink Puss, but oh baby. So just going back to joining my mainstream house, my gosh, why just went blank like that? Oh, yes. So the founding mother.
Let me make a call to Aaliyah. Aaliyah.
I'm gonna say Atlanta mother. I was like, wait, she's not Atlanta. Founding mother Aaliyah. We had a conversation, and so she was the one that actually gave me my mainstream name, which was Lash Demir Versailles. And so with that, of course, because when I come out, I'm gonna have on a stack lash with a beef face. And so
it kind of sets the expectation for you, like, to be your signature when you see Pink, or when you see Lash, excuse me.
Yeah.
She's gonna have on a lash. Even if her face not be, she's gonna have on a lash.
Gonna have on a lash, yeah.
It's part of the stamp, it's the signature now.
Right. So literally now, mind you, now every time I step out, and I'm like just around like the DMVs, or even like when I'm just like out like in the DMV, see me, they be like, "You ain't got no lash on today?" And I'm like, "No, not today." But like it is one of those things where it's like affirming to me that the house affirms me and who I am, and how I identify. And even if like we're in conversation, and sometimes when we in conversation and we can be speaking fast, and so they're like da 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 da, and then they're like, wait, let me backtrack. Lash, I apologize. And then and it's like the fact that like they are like making sure that I'm comfortable, like when I'm around, and so that right there means, so much to me, because of the fact that, you do have a lot of people that that have conversations or that would just be like, when we're at a ball, I know that this is Lash, so I'm gonna say
Right.
she. But then outside of ballroom or at a practice or something like that, they going back to just regular, like, and so like literally with them when I'm in practice or when I'm at a ball, like in and out or whatever case may be, they still address me appropriately. And so with that, I really do appreciate Aaliyah and then the House of Demir Versailles. And then another thing, just one more thing, I'm so sorry. Another thing is and with of course, Toni, when you decided to, when we had the conversation about having the gender non-conforming categories at the battle zone, for me, honestly, that truly have meant a lot for me because of the fact that when we speak about like the category realness, so of course we have like schoolboy realness, and the list goes on. And so it's like, okay, well, what about the people that identify like this every day? Yeah. And I know in Kiki we have like cut versus cut, and which that's fun, that's
it's
cute.
more like a fashion style type.
Exactly. Yeah. But it's like when it comes down to realness, this is how I identify every day. This is me authentically. And so it's like when we think about just ballroom as a whole, we say this all the time, that this is a safe space. This is the this is the community for us. And so like, okay, great. But in this community, we are still like black and white. Yeah. And so we're not making a space for the people that don't identify black or white. You know what I'm trying to say? So It's like, so now, like, I do feel like when you made up that opened up that door for people that identify like myself, it was even like a gag shocker for me, because you see a lot of people went to the back and started putting out props and started walking. And so
I actually sent that clip to Prince, so Prince can. I don't know if you watched it, Prince, but yeah, Sugar Bear named it Banji Hunt Realness, which it really was gender non-conforming realness. However, if you were to sell it Banji or like that was
right,
but yeah, because we also did gender non-conforming schoolgirl realness. So yeah.
So it's like with that, it just goes to show you that like as life goes on, and as we may not, because I didn't understand how I identified back then, and it wasn't until I started working at an agency back in Chicago where well, she go by she, her, they, them, but she was the one that kind of introduced pronouns to me, and she explained that how she was gender non-conforming, and so I was like, okay, okay, so. And when I kind of reflected back over my life, but I was like, you know what? I never really liked anything masculine. I never really was into sports. I never was into, hey, yo, bro. Like that was just never me. Like it was never me. So like, the fact that as life goes on and we start to educate ourselves and we start to, like, okay, become, our true selves, I just feel like that's where ballroom kind of like needs to go as well too, because literally there are a lot of people in ballroom that also identify as gender non-conforming or non-binary. But are we going to continue to say, okay, well, you need to pick between if you're going to be dragged or just regular butch? Like, so like we do, I feel like eventually we do need to like come together and get there to make space for us,
Prince, have you had any affirmation or affirming moments of being, feeling seen and like you were respected in your identity, walking or just experiencing ballroom in general prior to the weekend?
So honestly, I will say this weekend was definitely a very affirming weekend. I really, really enjoyed myself. I'm not sure if you guys know, but big shout out to Marcus Escada. So this weekend, there was the Marvel's Southeastern Regional Awards Ball and the After Encore Ball. And, I reached out to him. Actually, I reached out to multiple people. I've been having different conversations with different legends and overall parents in reference to introducing non-gender conforming and non-binary categories to ballroom, because and like Travii said, growing up, I've never really felt like completely masculine. But then when I tried the whole overly feminine thing, that didn't fit for me either. So somewhere in the midst, I found out, I am non-binary. I'm somewhere in between. And, I reached out to him and let him know, express my concerns to him after getting shut down by different people. And he was the person who actually said, you know what, I definitely do agree with that. Like, this is something that I have heard before, but I never knew how to go about it. I never knew, this is something that, I'm open to. And he had, for the first time in the Southeastern region, well, one of the first times, he had non-gender conforming face for both the awards ball and the aftermath. And it was me and a few other people, and other people that walked, and it was just really, really good knowing that was a part of the creating that moment.
Yes.
And the other people that walked, like just hearing them say, for the first time, they were able to walk and truly embrace who they was and truly just be them authentically. And for me, it was the first time that I actually felt like I was a part of ballroom. Like I was able to walk out there with my beard and with my hair and with my heels and just be me. I didn't have to act super masculine. I didn't have to act overly feminine and put on a bra or anything else I was uncomfortable with. I was able to go and be me and be me authentically. And, everybody saw me, and I felt, for the first time in ballroom, I felt seen for who I was.
And Prince, one, I just want to say, I'm really happy for you. I'm happy that you have the bravery and the courage to step out and have these conversations about your identity and how you and really kind of navigating and curating what your experience in ballroom will be, because I know you are still very new to ballroom, but to come in and already making change such as what just happened last weekend was pretty dope. We know that obviously gender nonconforming and non-binary as an identity has been around like it's something new, but we've acknowledged it as such for years now. And I know New York specifically has been affirming in things that they've done. Mainly I've heard it within the Kiki scene up north, but I know they've been affirming up there because their culture, ballroom culture and queer culture, is very different from the South. So for you to contact somebody such as Marcus Escada and for him to hear you out and see you and allow you to take up space in something that he, is throwing or creating with whomever, I think is just super dope. And to see that clip, to see y'all take a picture, but to see the clip, to see the different representations, the different aesthetics of what gender nonconforming and non-binary looks like was super dope just to see that. Because Travii, if you think about it, we go back, but as far as talking about this conversation, we go back to Trans Table Talk and we talk about your experience growing up in Chicago and what that was like with your family. So it's like, it feels good to see y'all and for y'all to see y'all be seen in whatever capacity when it comes to ballroom. And Prince, I'm just glad that you've created this space, that you've opened up this space, that you said, I'm not waiting for nobody to invite me to the table, baby. I'm gonna come knocking at the door. And whether they receive me or not, that's on them, but I'm gonna keep trying. Big kudos to you because that is super dope. Travii, for you, I know in terms of performance, I feel like that is a ballroom treasure. And I don't know what that looks like as far as them creating space for the gender nonconforming and non-binary people in that category. But what I can say to you and what I can say to promoters such as myself, if you want to see people, if you want to affirm people, if you want people to know that they are seen and that they are appreciated in their identity and gender expression, it costs you nothing to add another category. It costs you nothing to say open to all face and you break it down and you say GNC non-binary face, GNC non-binary performance, run whatever lanes that need to be open for people that identify but walk these categories, right? So I think that moment was super dope. Travii, You, Miss Mamas, you continue to show up, baby, in your lash, in your makeup, and all of your feminine glory, and you walk these balls, and ain't nobody gonna tell you nothing about what you should and shouldn't walk, because you're gonna walk what you walk, and that's
Yeah.
Vogue Femme.
Period.
Yeah, for now, until maybe that space, will open up, and I
Yeah.
say to you, if you want to champion that for your category, do it. Don't be scared to hold back, because you know me. If and I'm not involved in ballroom at the moment, but my throwing ball experience is mainly within the Kiki scene, and you know how I don't have a relationship with Atlanta right now. However, should I ever get back to throwing balls in Atlanta, there's a space.
Yeah.
Anything that I create, there's a space.
And that's one thing I would definitely like to say thank you, Toni, like, because you get it. And like how Prince said, like, it don't take nothing to try to understand, or try to get knowledge, or try to understand, like, because like really, like, you may not have experience going through identifying as non-binary, gender non-conforming, but the fact that, like, it took nothing to just do research and try to understand, and especially if we are going to be a part of this community as a whole, like, it takes nothing to really understand the people who you surround yourself around, because you can be talking to somebody that you walk up and you see a Prince, and then it don't take nothing. It's like, hey Prince, like, what are your pronouns? It don't take nothing to ask that question. So it's like, if you can, and I'm not saying everybody needs to be like a Toni or anything like that, but it, like I said, the fact that, like, you literally take out the time to get knowledge and understand, it takes nothing for the next person to do the exact same thing, and it's
Right.
like, this is our space, and we should be able to build in this space, and not continue to do the norm, or, oh well, mainstream, this is the mainstream layout, so we have to use the mainstream layout for Kiki. Like, we don't have to do that. So for you, so to you, I say thank you for just always making sure that there is a lane and there's a space, when I show up. So thank you.
You're welcome. And Prince, I really wish you were around during those, the last revamp of the battle zones. So you could, out the gate, got that experience and feel seen, and like feel like you had a category that was catered to you, and how you identify. But then when the cards we was dealt, you came in a little after that, and it's okay. Because guess what?
Right.
Baby, we did it in Kiki, but you did it in mainstream. And I want to
Right.
shout out to Barty again, Atlanta Father Barty Bodega, for being my partner in that. And when I brought it to Barty was like, okay. And Barty, he never shot it down. He did his best to understand everything, and he went along with it, and we had a great time.
We did.
We even had gender non-conforming face. Didn't nobody walk, because this one right here didn't have on her makeup, and I told her, put on some makeup so you can walk gender non-conforming face. I want to see you, because I still got them videos of you and Nasty. Y'all did that photo shoot, and I was like, oh, gender non-conforming face,
right?
So I just want to shout out both of y'all for being unapologetically rooted in who y'all are and y'all identity. And I just want to, send y'all love, keep blazing the trails and being who y'all are. Is there anything lastly that y'all would want to say as far as, giving any advice or what you would want to see moving forward in ballroom?
Well, I definitely will say, especially to you, Travii, that, I know you're saying like, oh, you don't feel as though that it will happen, but we're definitely creating space for us. And I was actually at one of the leadership meetings on Friday in reference to ballroom, and I addressed the issue with, non-binary, non-gender conforming people in ballroom. And, a lot of the leaders, they did, they said that, of course, they're going to bring this back. And they, one of the leaders specifically said that they're taking it back to Atlanta when they go back with them. So this is something that will continue. And trust me, I'm definitely going to do my best to hold people accountable, and just make sure that we continue to create space and this understanding for non-binary and non-gender conforming people. I'm going to continue having conversations, continue reaching out to ball promoters, and trust me, this will not be the end. I can guarantee that.
I truly do really appreciate that, because honestly, and it just me just get on my own self, is the fact that I never even take out the time to actually take that extra step, or you take that extra mile to go and have conversations with ball promoters and say, hey, I don't identify like that. So is it possible you can, and sometimes all it does just take a conversation, because literally, that was how literally we was just in a conversation it was like a group of us. So when we was having a conversation, and then literally the next battle zone, Toni literally said, okay, we doing gender non-conforming. So it's sometimes it only takes a conversation. So I thank you for letting me see you do that. And so that motivates me to if I want something, I need to go up and just start having a conversation with these ball promoters and be like, hey baby, it's a new girl on the block,
And I was just charged, as a person, I've been in Ballroom since 2009, starting in St. Louis, but specifically as a gatekeeper for the Kiki Ballroom community in Atlanta for the time that I was. We have to understand our power and our influence when it comes to this scene, and we have to understand that with much with much responsibility. I can't remember the quote.
With much power comes responsibility.
There we go. With much power comes responsibility, and you can't use it for bad. You cannot use it for bad. You have to use it for good. You have to create spaces. You have to make sure these spaces are safe. You have to create programs and events. You have to think about everything outside of just what's happening on the floor, mental health, substance abuse, all kinds of things that's going on in Ballroom as gatekeepers of this community. And one of the topics that will continue to be a topic as long as the foot stay on next is about being inclusive in this space in this black and white world that we try to be so traditional when we can't even be traditional, because my very identity goes against what tradition says it should be. So how can I be a traditionalist when my identity doesn't align with what tradition even means? So we have to snap out of that. We have to grow and we have to evolve. Ballroom has been around for over 40 years now. So it's time to create spaces. And again, to my gatekeepers, to my ballroom promoters that throw these balls, that's your ball. Can't nobody tell you what you can and can't do. If it's of the year, you have your of the year categories. And if you want to add something extra that's not of the year, do it. As long as your bases are covered for of the year, do it. I'm even here for, we talk about Ballroom, the cis women scene. I've seen the Men of Trans Experience throw their own balls. You competed in one last year. You know what I'm saying? So it's does there need to be, and don't get me wrong, I hate that go create your own, because that's not what I'm saying, because I'm totally against that. However, if you feel like that's something you want to do to create a safe space for gender nonconforming people to make sure they're seen and heard, while you're also fighting the good fight in the mainstream, do that as well. Because guess what? Cis women, they might have had their thing, but they were still competing in the mainstream. Men of trans experience, they might have done their thing, but they were still competing in the mainstream. And it can be the same for gender nonconforming and non-binary people. So that's my charge to the gatekeepers and ball promoters. Be the change for the people that feel voiceless and powerless, because you have that voice, because you have that influence and that power. Be the change. And that's just that on that. And it's unfortunate, Travii and Prince, that I'm not as active down here anymore because of my own things that I went through. Because it does make it y'all don't understand how bad it makes me feel to have to walk away and knowing that there was progress and change being made with the decisions that at least I was making, with whether it be with my partner Barty or whether it just be something I wanted to do as well to incorporate into the thing. It pains me and I feel horrible about it, but at the end of the day, and Travii, I always say prioritize self first. My Facebook was down for over a month. And I came back for y'all tonight to have this conversation because I believe in y'all, and I want y'all, a gatekeeper. Hello, create the spaces, have the conversations, and I want y'all to feel seen. And I just want y'all to have an overall great experience in Ballroom. And I guess that's my 2 cents. So I want to thank you, Prince Hodge. I want to thank you, Travii, Aiko, for coming to have a candid talk with Toni Bryce. Again, this has been episode 3. And I'll, see y'all for the next episode. We'll see what we're talking about. But I really do appreciate y'all, and keep fighting a good fight. Thank y'all so much. And thank you to everybody that tuned in. We didn't even get questions. So what I'll say to y'all, if y'all want to go back through the comments and look at questions and maybe answer them, in the comments, you can, or if y'all want to DM, however. Also, Prince, I know you're creating a group for the gender non-conforming and non-binary people. Did you want to talk about that real quick?
Oh, yes. So if there's anybody that identifies as non-binary, gender non-conforming, androgynous, however, just contact me. I am creating a separate no house affiliation ballroom group for gender non-conforming. Like I said, I'm going to continue having these conversations and reaching out to the ball promoters if there's any specific balls that you guys want to push for. And I will also communicate the balls that it is being approved for, so that we can definitely show up and represent and show who we are and that we are here.
Period. And Prince,
Make sure
you
add your girl.
Add your girl.
Yeah.
Like I told you time and time, Prince, you have my full support in this journey. And
thank you.
Period. So if you ever need anything, whether it's to talk, we talk down at this point, just reach out. And like I said, if I come back to do a ball or whatever, just know there's anything that I put my hands on, there will be a space created for my gender non-conforming and non-binary sibling. Let me say sibling.
Right. And I do just want to acknowledge the fact that you, since the beginning of me even feeling uncomfortable before I've even decided to take action, I thank you for always being someone that I can come to, and somebody who has always just been there for me and for any person who felt uncomfortable within the ballroom scene. I do want to thank you and give you your roses.
Well, thank you so much. I received my roses from the people that willing to give me my roses. Thank you so much. Chris, thank you really, because like I said, when I first seen you on that clip, I said, yes, I see it. Keep going. And you are doing it. I'm very, very proud of you. I'm very proud of you. And Travii, you my forever goddaughter, as I like to call you. The one that stayed attached to the hip through it all and said, girl, what you say, girl, you my godmother, period. And I love you for it. And hey, I'm still a godmother out in these streets, y'all. Thank y'all so much. And I'll see y'all in the next show. And I'll probably FaceTime y'all real quick just to do a little after recap. So Travii, don't run and escape, Miss Mama.
I'm not.
All right, y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in, and see y'all in the next one.
Bye.
Thank you.